Welcome to the Unscripted Podcast. My name's Corby LaCroix, and the song you're hearing right now is called Great and Mighty One, available on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your music. But for now, recording from the Unscripted studio at the Junction in Old Hilliard, here's your host and my friend, Aaron Conrad.
Great Redeemer, God of grace.
All right, everybody, welcome to Unscripted from my basement. Corby, thank you for the intro and the audio, which if you're listening, you probably heard. I'm going to go ahead and say this right out of the gate. This, I believe, in 88 episodes is maybe the most powerful, and we haven't even spoken yet as far as we did a little pregame warm up here, but as far as his story, anything else, we've not spoken yet, but I truly believe in my heart of hearts, and based on what God has told me today, this may be the most powerful episode I've ever done. And I'm going to go ahead and clear the deck right now for everybody. There's probably going to be some tears. There's probably going to be some emotion. Gary and I were just talking. We hope you laugh. We hope you, well, we don't hope, but you might cry a little bit in this, and you might think. And if we've done that, then all due respect to Jim Valvano, we've done our job today. We've shared the story. And so, man, I am so honored to introduce my guest, Mr. Gary Miracle. Let me just say it. So you've probably seen the video. If you haven't, please go Google MercyMe, say I won't, and hear Gary's story or see Gary's story. And if you know, like I say, if you haven't seen it, please go do that. Maybe not until after the interview.
Don't leave right now, please.
Right. Let's hear the interview first. But at the end of the interview, I'm sure it'll be in my post. I'll share it. But at the end of the day, that's where I was introduced to Gary, and I am so looking forward to this interview and just this chance. I'm blown away and honored beyond words to be able to share some time with Mr. Gary Miracle. Gary, will you introduce yourself and just tell us a little about you, and then we'll really dig into your story. But please tell us about you, Gary.
Yeah, man. Just thank you, Aaron. I mean, you're doing an amazing thing, and to hear you even say something like you've done 88 of these episodes, man, just your heart behind diving into other people's lives and giving other people a platform to share the good, the bad, and the ugly is, man, life. To spend some time to be real, to just to take your mask off and lay it out there and say, this is what God's got for my life. I hate it. I love it. I want it. I don't want it, whatever the case may be. But, man, thank you for the opportunity. But all that aside, I am Gary Miracle. Man, I'm just thankful for this opportunity. I am a recent, as you may have seen on the MercyMe video or may yet to see on the MercyMe video, I am I just celebrated, actually, I'd say 3 weeks ago, celebrated my 1 year anniversary of all 4 of my limbs being amputated. I hear my arms here, and I'm not going to show you my legs. That'd be weird. I don't want to make you lust or anything like that. So, but man, I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary, and we just got a lot I want to share. I want to share about my life before this happened. I want to share what happened. I want to share what God's doing in my life right now. And I want to encourage people and love on people and link arms with people who think that life is tough and think that things are hitting the fan. That, man, yeah, you're right. It might be, but God's good. So that's my goal through this, is to keep Christ the center of attention in this very moment. Give him all of the glory that he deserves, because he doesn't make mistakes. And we're just here to talk about that. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. And again, Gary, there's so many ways we can go today. My daughter got a flat tire last night, and all of a sudden our world was on fire, right? Like, it just was a big deal. And it's not. One of my favorite quotes is by John Mayer. It's one of his songs where he says, you better take your so-called problems and put them in quotations. I try to remember that so much, that my quote unquote problems, I better put them in quotations, because life is real different for a lot of people. And just because I got to wear a mask in the gas station, or my daughter got a flat last night, man, that's not a problem in a lot of people's world. So, man, let's just tee it up. Let me go ahead and get out of the way. Why don't you tell your story, and let's start there, and then I'm sure we're going to have a lot to dig into after that.
Right on, man. Okay. Well, my name's Gary again, 39 years old. I have a beautiful wife. Her name is Kelly. I have 4 incredible children. We have 3 biological boys and 1 just gorgeous 17-year-old daughter. We adopted her from Colombia, South America. She's the perfect completion to our family. That God ordained from the day she was born down there. But that's our family, man. We have lived, we've lived, my wife and I have been married coming up on 12 years, and we've been, at the end of the day, we're all American family. Like, everything is great. I had a great sales job. My wife, stay-at-home mom. We got our kids. We're all invested in sports. I feel like we're at the soccer fields or football fields every night of the week and on the weekends. And that's been our life, heavily involved in church, went through a 2-year pastoral program, served in many ministries at the church and whatnot. And, we finalized the adoption process. I'm sorry, my phone is falling down over here, so I'm going to turn that off.
You're unscripted, baby.
Unscripted. There it is. Right
That's
there.
what we do.
This is real life happening right now.
That's right. 100%. Crazy. Yep.
We went through the adoption. Our daughter was 13 years old when we started the adoption process. So we did not adopt a baby.
Wow.
We adopted a teenager who was about to age out of the system in a couple of years, and we just fell in love with her and knew she was supposed to be a miracle, in our family. So we did that. Shortly after we finalized the adoption and brought our daughter home, we became foster parents as well. We just wanted to love on kids who some people didn't love. So we had a child in our home for quite some time, and we went through that season. About 6 months, maybe 8 months after that, it's about Christmas time, 2019, and here we go. It's about Christmas time, 2019, and I just got sick. I got really sick. And I went to the emergency room. It was over Christmas break, so most doctors' offices and whatnot were not open, especially at the hours that I wasn't feeling sick. And, at the end of the day, one thing led to another. My sickness just got worse and worse and worse. And in a matter of 4 days, I went from celebrating Christmas morning with my kids to 4 or 5 days later, I fell into septic shock. And I just got this infection. Fell into septic shock. I was airlifted. I live in Florida. I was airlifted from one hospital where I live to another hospital in Orlando, Florida. A couple hours after I got there in the ICU, I coded. I flatlined. I was lifeless for. Here we go, Aaron.
I'm here, man. I'm here. Yep. Take your time.
Lifeless for about 7.5 minutes.
7.5 minutes. Unbelievable.
My wife was in the room. Said it was just like the movies. Some little 80-pound girl soaking wet jumped on top of me and just started pounding on my chest.
Man.
They escorted my wife out of the room. She left the ICU room while they were working on me and went into the waiting room and collapsed. And minutes later, the doctor came out. My wife was looking at him and she just kept saying, "Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. I don't want to hear it."
Come on, Gary.
And the doctor got down and he told my wife, "So we have a slight pulse." We knew right then and there God wasn't done. That heaven came to fight for me in that moment.
A slight pulse.
I had a slight pulse. That's all God needed. So I had a slight pulse. They immediately put me into surgery, put me on a life support machine, a machine called the ECMO machine. I'd never heard of the machine before that. But essentially, super long story short, what the ECMO machine does is it is a machine, a life support machine designed for people who just recently had a heart transplant or a lung transplant. And what it does is it bypasses those two things. It keeps those two things running so that everything else can figure itself out and what's going on. Most people who are on that machine are on for 24 to 48 hours until their heart or lungs kick in, their new heart and lungs kick in. And I was on it for 10 days. I was in a coma for 10 days. And then if you go, and I promise this is not a shameless plug, but if you go to GaryMiracle.com, there's a video where my wife is talking about what she does and what she did while I was in that coma. And what she did was she wrote, there must have been 50 to 100 index cards of scriptures that she just posted all over the hospital room. Mm-hmm. Pictures of me, pictures of the kids, pictures of my family. You know, she wanted to make sure that the nurses and the doctors knew who they were saving. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just another number. It wasn't just a body, but I was a husband, and I was a dad and a brother and a son. And these people saw that, and they fought for my life for me when I couldn't. And it was minute by minute, man. For 10 days, they just had no idea if I was going to wake up or not.
Wow. Gary, I don't want to interrupt you. You're killing me. First of all, you and I talked before this.
This is the hard part, by the way. Once we get through this, we're good. Smooth sailing.
Yeah, well, let's get through it, because but I mean, it's real, and that's what I want. So that's why I believed in my heart that this was going to be the most powerful episode I've ever done, because I'm a dad and I'm a husband, and this is every one of us, right? This is what, man, I can't even, I don't have words. But there was the irony is you don't know each other. You didn't see my notes. I don't typically make notes because it is unscripted, but I did make a few. Yeah. And there's a few things that your wife said in the video, and I will have that link in this podcast. There's a few things your wife said, and they told her, don't get your hopes up. This is a long shot. It's a Hail Mary. Yeah. And then at one point she had to, I believe, call your children and say he may not make it. Goodness, Gary. She said, Dad may not wake up. Golly, this is going to be a tough one, Gary. But I look forward to the point where we get to the end. The other thing that she said was nothing. Words, and Kelly was only one who could understand me when you came out of it. So let me jump ahead. I'm sorry, I jumped too far in my notes, but let's get to that in a minute. But man, there's so much that she said. That was tough when you watch the video, but there's so much glory in that. And the fact that you and I are talking right now, that's what anybody listening to this needs to hear, is this is tough. We're in the hard right now, but there's so much joy coming. So let me shut up and get out of the way. Gary, keep telling your story.
Yeah. So that story picks up right where you just talked about. I don't remember the day. I think it was around day 7-ish of me being in the coma, that the hospital caseworker sat down with my wife and said, I think you need to call your kids. That's just something no parent should ever have to go through.
Yeah.
And she did. She sat down with my kids and she let them know that there's a really big chance that Dad might not wake up.
Wow.
And, you know, my boys are young. My boys are 6, 8, and 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay.
Right.
And my daughter took a minute and she looked at my wife and she said, wait, is Daddy going to die? And Kelly said, I don't know, he might. And they had that conversation. Kelly made a choice at that moment to internalize this. Mm-hmm. Or to go to Facebook. And she made a choice. She said, man, I'm going to get the world rallied around this right now.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm going to get the world rallied around this, and we're going to get as many people as we can praying. And somehow on day 10, I opened my eyes. Wow. Kelly hates this part, because the first person I remember seeing was my mom. When Kelly never left my side for 10 days, I see my mom's face.
Yeah. Right.
Moms are always there.
Right.
But, you know, I woke up, and the tricky part about being on that machine, on that life support machine for so long, was in order to keep my core running, in order to keep my main organs, my heart, my lung, my kidneys, everything going. It had to suck all of the blood and circulation and everything out of my extremities and pump it into my core to keep that going. And because I was on it so long, my arms and legs just started dying. They just became extremely necrotic. And, that's when the choice had to go. This infection could continue to grow. So we need to make a choice. Do we lose his limbs or do we lose his life? And my wife tells the story way better than I do, but she looked at the doctors and said, I'll take him however you can give him to me. And I can literally say it. I'm half the man I used to be sitting here right now.
Gary, you're killing me. The fact that you can have humor in that, but I get it, man.
Yeah. And that's where the journey picks up. I think
any one of our wives would make that, and that's shout out to our wives and shout out to your wife, because I don't know her, I've never met her, but man, you have an incredible wife, a powerful wife. I've seen it in the videos, a woman of strength and courage, and but man, that's love, right? That's Corinthians, through all things, and the fact that she just wanted you here. It doesn't matter. Golly, Gary. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And then that's when we knew, like, the journey was going to start right then and there, and God wasn't done with me. I was awake again, and now we figured out. I honestly don't remember too much of my hospital stay. I think I got the pretty good end of the deal, to be honest with you. My wife and family had to lay there, and there's pictures just all over the place on the website and on these videos of me just laying in this coma, and my dad rubbing my head and my mom rubbing my head and my friends praying and laying hands on me, and pastors coming and anointing me with oil while I was in a coma. And just, people just didn't give up. My village is strong. And, I want to circle back to that here in a little bit, talking about my village, but it's strong, and the power of prayer is a very real thing. And PTSD is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is what my wife and kids and family are suffering through right now. I was in a coma. I slept through the whole thing. And I was drugged. And when I was awake, I was so drugged and out of it. I was on so much that, I just don't remember that much of my hospital stay. And I think God's done that on purpose. He is very slowly giving me pieces of my story, and I'm getting flashbacks and all kinds of things. And it's really great. It took me a couple months after I got home from the hospital to look back and see pictures of myself that people took of me when all of this went down. And that was a very difficult moment. But man, I look at those pictures now and I don't see death. I see God's power. I see God's power that took me from a 240-pound, 6'2" guy to now standing as tall as I can stall without prosthetics. I'm 180 pounds, 4 foot tall. And in the hospital stay, I got all the way down to 155, 160 pounds. I was next to nothing.
Wow.
With so many medications I couldn't eat. I had feeding tubes in me, and I was just flooded with tubes and pokes and prods and all kinds of stuff. It's all there, but thank God that stuff is there, man. Something like this happened 50 years ago. I'm out.
You're out. Right.
I'm out. God has given people some hearts to create things and invent things and use medicine and doctors with their hands that are able to just literally breathe life back into my lungs in CPR and use their hands to pound on my chest. And we all have gifts, and I pray that we all find that gift and we use it, because I don't care if your gift is cutting somebody's grass, you're blessing somebody and you're changing somebody's life by doing it. So and never look down as to what gift God has given you. And again, I'm going to be all over the place. I'm way ahead of myself. I'm way behind. But again, Hashtag unscripted, right? Here we go.
Unscripted, man. That's what we do. So let me ask you, because you touched on this a few times. You don't remember anything so you remember getting sick around Christmas. And then, so all the time you were, and I apologize hang on. Anyone listening to this for the first time, please understand there's an unscripted rule that is, if I ever ask a question that someone's not comfortable with, doesn't want to answer, can't answer, whatever it is, they say pass and we're good. This is a pass-free zone. So let me ask the question. When you were in the state that you were in for those 7 days, do you remember a thing at all?
When I was in the coma or
Yes.
leading up to the coma?
So well, let me ask you this, Gary. What was your last memory? And then what was your first memory was seeing your mom, which thank God for that, man. I lost my mom and everybody on this podcast probably knows that. I thank God for our moms. And so, to see your mom first, man, that's pretty special. And I love my wife, but to see your mom first. But all right. So your last memory?
My first and my last memory, my last memory that I have with just kind of spitball and without sitting here and truly pondering it.
Sure.
The last memory that I have was in the emergency room when I was sick. I don't remember even what I was doing. I remember being in the waiting room, to be honest with you, like that. I vividly remember leaning up, I believe, against a vending machine in the waiting room, waiting to be seen. And that's the last thing I remember until I saw my mom's face.
Wow.
Now, with that being said, this is tough. And God's given me an incredible block here in my memory.
Sure.
Not a block in my memory because I remember this. He's given me a block in my emotions about this memory. But while I was in the coma, I had nightmares. I had very, very vivid nightmares. Not your everyday nightmare. I remember these nightmares lasting 24 hours long.
Oh,
and
gosh.
every single nightmare that I had, and I remember two of them very specifically, and the two that I had, both of them were the exact same thing in different places. I was trapped in the corner of somewhere, screaming my head off, watching people look for me outside of this bubble that I was in. It was so dark and it was so scary that, I mean, I don't know what this unscripted podcast is rated, but I remember trying to commit suicide in my nightmares to get out of my nightmares.
Wow. My goodness.
They were dark. And it was a dark place to be. And I truly believe in that coma, it was God versus Satan in my life. And that's what I think about. And the fact that I opened my eyes 10 days later proved to me that God won.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is kind of the memories that I have from being sick to being in a coma to waking up, and then waking up and my true first memory where things really start kicking in for me. I remember watching the Super Bowl in the hospital room. First weekend of February.
Who was in the Super Bowl?
I don't even remember that, actually.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, yep, I remember that, and the reason I remember that is because not even 5 minutes after the Super Bowl ended was the very last true scare that I had for my life. My oxygen tanked. And they had to call an emergency team into my room after the Super Bowl. I must have been really upset about who lost.
You don't remember who was in?
I don't even remember. Who cares? I love football, but holy mess.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. So that happened, and now here's where the story kind of kicks in, right? Here's where I believe, like,
shout out.
Talk about him
Unscripted.
In a minute. He's going to be a good part of the story, right?
Unscripted.
So that, yes, I'm going to introduce you to my beautiful wife. This is
There
Kelly.
she is. I emailed you, Gary. I said, hey, Kelly's welcome to come on. Kelly, you're killing me in the videos. Can I just tell you that right now? Like all my notes, if y'all could see my notes, which people watching on YouTube can see my notes. All my notes are you in your narrative of this story. And so we talked about you. You'll have to go back and listen to it, plugged for the podcast. You'll have to go back and listen to it. But we talked about you a minute ago, and we're thankful for our brides. And I know Gary's very thankful for his. And even though he saw his mom first thing, sorry, Gary. Love you, brother. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're honestly, Kelly, your strength is amazing to me, and your strength in the videos, your strength in telling this story. And at the end of the day, I mean, I have kids too, and your strength in keeping your family going is I'm speechless. I don't have a word for it, but thank you. I know I don't know you all. I've never been to your house or anything like that yet, but I'm speechless for how you kept your family going, Kelly. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a mom superpower, and God gives us strength to do hard things, and well, what choice did I have? I wasn't about to just give up, and so.
Well, I think your words got both of us here a minute ago. We've already said we're going to cry, we're going to laugh, we're going to hopefully inspire somebody on this entire episode, and your words to the doctor, I think, got both of us here a minute ago. So, that's just strength, Kelly, and you have my ultimate respect. You both do, obviously.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I look forward to meeting you all in person someday.
So I'm gonna maintain my sanity by going to dinner with my friends.
Enjoy.
But I wanted to say hi.
Hey, thanks for dropping in the Unscripted podcast, and that's what I love about Unscripted. It is unscripted. So thank you for dropping in. We'll have you both back sometime soon to do a full episode with both of you.
Awesome.
Right on.
All right.
Fun tonight, Kel. All right, take care.
Absolutely.
All right, so Gary's still here. Just so you know, nobody logs off. Gary's still here with me. So, man, what an honor to meet your bride. What an absolute honor to meet your bride, because what would be without our brides? And I'm about to get all choked up again. So, Gary, keep going with your story, because I think we're getting ready to turn a corner that's going to be real positive for us.
Yeah, here we go, man. This is where what I believe my God story kicks in, right?
Let's do it.
Man, at the end of the day, there was a line in the sand. Lose my life, lose my limbs. Kelly made that choice for me. We had to make the decision to take my limbs away. There was nothing we could do about that at the end of the day. And I promise you this. I promise you I am not in any way, shape, or form some mega power super Christian going to give you all these Christianese, man, this is so blah, blah, blah. 5 points here, 3 points here. But I very vividly remember Kelly sitting down with me and letting me know that they had to do these amputations. And the very first thought that I had was that verse in Job chapter 1. It said, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away.
But blessed be the name of the Lord.
God's given me so much over the first 39 years of my life. And right now, it's taking away time. He tells us the Lord gives and the Lord takes. And you can take that verse however you want. In my life right now, I'm taking it pretty stinking literal, because he literally took my hands and my legs. But like you just said, the end of that verse is, but blessed be the name of the Lord. And that's the line in the sand. You can choose to believe that that's true, and you can choose to trust that, or you can choose to say, forget it. I'm pissed. I'm not listening to that. That's not true to me. I have a diffuser going here. This is German Shepherds stink, all right? You're going to meet my German Shepherd in a minute. They're kind of smelly.
I want to see him.
Dude, I got us. We'll get there. So blessed be the name of the Lord. So, what the doctors did allow me to do by the grace of God alone, and through the power of prayer of people all around the world, Had they done the amputations right then and there in my life in January when I came out of the coma, both of my arms would have been above my elbow and both of my legs would have been above my knees,
Wow.
which would have drastically changed the quality of my life.
For sure.
Possibly never being able to use any prosthetics, never being able to walk again, any of that. The doctors knew that, it just couldn't get worse, right? Like, can't die twice. So
Your sense of humor is amazing.
So, man, they just let it roll. And, we prayed and people would come every day. My family and my friends, one of my best friends, Jason, and my best friend, Joe, they would come every single day and they would massage my dead arms and my dead eggs. They would just rub them for hours and hours. They would just rub them and massage them and work them out. And, so much so that I went into the amputations for my legs. I woke up in the recovery room and it took me about 30 seconds, which felt like 30 days, to look down to see if I had my knees or not. It was that 50-50 going into my surgeries, whether or not I was going to keep my elbows and keep my knees. My right leg was still a little tricky. They actually had to do the amputation, and it was so 50-50 that they could not close the wound. They couldn't close the flap. And it was a couple options. One, it's not going to close. It's going to get infected, and we're going to have to get back in there and go above the knee. Or, man, we can treat this thing like a baby and give it a little TLC and cross our fingers and hope it closes and go from there. And it did. Closed.
Wow.
2 weeks later, it opened. And I got a staph infection and MRSA infection in that open wound. And I had to go back to the hospital for another 5 days. They put me on antibiotics. My entire body was so antibiotic resistant that it was very difficult to take. And I had an incredible infectious disease doctor who had, I think it was something crazy, like a 1 in 12 shot of choosing an antibiotic that might work for me. And he nailed it. Again, another piece of the puzzle that God was just putting together, but he nailed it. 5 days later, the wound closed, healed, discharged from the hospital after 107 days total.
100, and just so people make sure everyone hears this. 107 days. That's a third of a year of our lives you spent in the hospital.
I think I celebrated, I believe it was July 24th or July 27th or something like that was the day of 2020 that I was finally home more days than I was in the hospital in 2020.
What day did you get out of the hospital? Do you remember? And I'm sorry.
So I was discharged from the hospital April 1st.
Right around COVID, right?
I came home to Ghost Town.
You came home to COVID, right? Yeah, because you went in New Year's Eve and you came out to COVID.
Yep. And it's not like there's good cable television in the hospital room. So, I mean, I didn't know the where it was at. Speaking of, if you ever go to the hospital, take a Roku with you. Change your life.
Put it back on TV, change your life.
Dude, I can give you a care package right now of things you wouldn't even think you needed in the hospital, but I got you. All right. Call me if you're in the hospital.
I got you. All right.
I'll mail too. I came home to COVID. I got discharged April 1st, came home to COVID. I had to go back to the hospital 2 more times for 5 days each. So a total of 107 days in the hospital. So essentially 97 days up front and then 2 stints of 5 days after that. I was in the hospital for the last time Mother's Day weekend last year.
Wow.
Which is why I said we just kind of celebrated our 1 year anniversary of all of this kind of getting behind us. But I came home, and at that point, it was figuring out your new normal, right?
Right.
It was figuring out how to be a dad to 4 kids with no limbs, and figuring out how to love your life, how to love your wife well without being able to hold her hand or do things like that. And it took its toll on me. You know, not to say I got it all together now. I was in the fetal position for 4 hours 2 nights ago, hyperventilating, crying. Man, just life's tough. And that's okay, man. I'm not trying to pretend like this is great. I'm not trying to pretend like God's plan is perfect for me and I love it. And man, whatever. Sometimes, listen, if God doesn't have something for me on the other side of this, I'm going to blows with him when I get up there. Him and I are going to have it out. He's probably going to win. I get that. I understand. I'm going to give him all I got.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you know, Gary, I love that. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hopefully anybody listens. When I say I love that, what I love is your honesty. Okay, because I think in Christianity, I was just talking to somebody today because somebody asked me to review a Christian film, and I said, okay, just because it's a Christian film doesn't mean it should be bad. Like, just because we say it's Christian, right? Because at the end of the day, that doesn't always end perfect. And now I'm on a separate rant because, you know, Christian films always end perfect, and everybody, you know, man, it doesn't always end that way, right? Like life, that's not life. And what I would rather see in a Christian film is that it be real. So. Separate rant, but at the point, my point is what you're just saying is, I think Christianity is honest and it's true in that we struggle, just because and I think people on the outside that are not believers will have more respect for us if we are real and say, man, I struggle with the same things that you do. I struggle with addictions. I struggle with pain. I struggle with mental wellness. All those things, I struggle with them too. The difference is my hope lies somewhere else. And I think that's what I'm hearing from you. Is that fair?
Yeah, man, you're teeing me up perfect here. I'm looking at your listeners right now, man. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, exactly what you just said, we all have struggles.
Yeah.
Every single one of us have struggles. And I know you listening right now, you have a struggle. And if you don't, get ready because it's coming.
It's coming.
But we all have struggles. Where I'm at in my life right now today, my struggles just happen to be more visible than yours. You can see my struggles. You can see that it's tough for me to pick up a cup and take a drink like this. You can see me struggle. You can see me struggle to eat. You can see me struggle to put a shirt on. But what happens when good people see someone struggling? We step up. I can't tell you how many people every single day of my life ask me, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? Can I open that straw for you? Can I pick that up for you? People who see my struggles step into my life and serve me. The scariest struggles in the world are the ones you can't see.
Yeah.
Because Christians are so freaking good at hiding and putting a mask on. And guys, I don't know if you're struggling with anxiety or depression or an eating disorder or finances or marriage issues. I don't know what your struggling is, but this is my plea to you. My plea, my beg. I pray right now, God, that you have the weight of the world on your shoulders right now. And I pray that you can't even fall asleep tonight until you pick up the phone, call someone, get brave, risk it. Tell somebody what you're struggling with. I promise you they'll help you. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to make fun of you. If you think they are, call me. I won't. I won't judge you. I won't make fun of you. Man, I just want to link arms with as many people out there as possible and figure out what your unseen struggles are. And let's do this. Sin finds its power when it's hidden. And if your sins are hidden, if your struggles are hidden, Satan's got you by the ankles and he has power on you. And all you got to do is say, I'm struggling in my marriage. Boom. Satan just let go. He knows he can't attack where 2 or more are gathered. Man, I pray so hard. Don't let your unseen struggles be your identity and define who you are and define how you live. And I'm trying my hardest. I still have unseen struggles too. I do. I have unseen struggles being a dad. Man, I struggle nobody wrote me a book telling me how to be a dad of 3 boys and an adopted daughter that came from a life of trauma. I don't know what I'm doing. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, they don't come with an instruction manual.
Right.
And goodness, anybody on the audio, you probably don't know, but I'm struggling to keep it together because Gary's over here just dropping wisdom. Man, this is why I knew it. I felt it in my heart all day today. I felt it in my heart from the time you replied to my email that this was going to be the most difficult and yet most powerful episode I've ever done, Gary. And a few things I want you all to know. We prayed before we even did this. Just so you all know, because there's always a little pregame, before we click record on the old Zoom. And Gary asked if we could pray. That's the first time for me. This Gary's not coming on here to just tell a story. Gary really believes in his heart that this is powerful. Gary believed it before I did, and I think we're linked in terms of our hearts in as far as what today's episode could be. And I swear, I don't just say it lightly. I really believe that this is the most powerful episode I've ever done. And I don't have a thing to do with it, man. It's not my story. I'm just clicking record. But man, I'm very thankful for you. Gosh, your wife, I have so many notes over here and they're a train wreck like I am. And that's why it's unscripted. But one of the notes that you said, and I want to go back to that.
Yeah.
I wish your bride was still on because she put Post-it notes up all over your room when you were in your coma and when you were struggling and fighting and battling to get back to us. Your bride put Post-it notes all over the room, which is verses and scriptures. And man, again, I wish she was still on, and I hope she'll see this someday because, man, we're blessed to have our brides, and we're blessed to have people that believe in us. And, I think that all that mattered, everything mattered. Your friends that came and spent time with you, that mattered. We live in, we need I think you touched on it, so I want to go to it in a second, but you said we have a tribe, we have a village, we have people around us. It takes a village to raise us, to support us, to battle for us. And it sounds like you had an incredible village, and I'll let you know, man, even if I'm on the outside of the fence, I'm in your village, man. I'm cheering you on every day. And I know we're friends now on Facebook, which social media is whatever. But man, I'm cheering you on. And I want to talk about something else in a few minutes too, about something I saw on Facebook, which is awesome. So so we turn the corner, man. You're home, you're getting ready. And what's life like now for you?
Man, life right now, I would say, since August, I have gone through the journey of getting prosthetics.
Yes.
So I now have arms and legs again. I'm still working through kinks. I'm still working through physical therapy and strength and all of that. But it's there, I have arms and legs and I talk to my kids very often when I go places with them, and I always want to honor my kids, and I always want to protect my kids, and I ask them to be real with me, and I remember vividly asking my son, who was headed to soccer practice shortly after I got home, like, man, you mind if I go and watch? Never missed a soccer practice. I've coached his soccer teams for 5 years and his football teams, and I asked him, I was like, I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want you to get made fun of because of the way dad looks. Man, my kids are so blind to this, and they love me unconditionally, and they straight up. 10-year-old son tells me all the time he does not care about the way that I look. And my 10-year-old son said he's going to be a doctor one day to save someone's life just like a doctor saved mine. And to know that my son still today has his hands and feet, and he wants to use his hands and feet for the people that don't have hands and feet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
man.
Kids get me. My kids are the ones that get me, man.
Yeah.
My son is wanting to dedicate his life to do for people what he saw people do for dad.
Yeah.
And man, my kids just love me, and it's great. So where I'm at now, I'm sorry.
No, man. Hey, we're unscripted, and the grace that our kids give us, it's amazing, man. God gives them unbelievable blinders to our struggles, to our challenges. I think as parents, we want so badly, to be perfect. And as you said, man, there's no manual, but we want so badly to raise our kids and not have a blemish or anything on our record, as parents. But man, our kids have blinders because they just love us, man. They have a love that we could probably learn a lot from when it comes to us as parents. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
So this is where I'm at right now. I got my prosthetics. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm literally sitting in my wheelchair right now. And 6 months ago, I still was the head coach of my son's flag football team from a wheelchair.
That's awesome.
And tomorrow night is our last soccer game, because I was the head coach of my son's soccer season over the past 8 weeks.
That's awesome.
Say I won't, right?
Say I won't. Hey, say I won't.
That's where I'm at, man. I promise my kids, as of right now, they are registered and signed up for their first tackle football season in August. And my goal, and I'm going to fight, and I promise you I'm going to do this, say I won't do it, and I'll prove you wrong, but I'm going to be out on the football field with no walker, no wheelchair, and I'm going to be running with my kids in August. Give me 4 months and I'm done. I'm back. I'm fighting tooth and nail for that, and nothing's going to stand in my way of accomplishing that goal. Between my fight and my village, it's got to happen. I'm expecting, I'm trusting that Christ is going to just redeem the situation, and I'm going to walk out on that football field, and he's going to get his glory for it. Not the kids cheering me on, but God's going to get his glory for saving my life and giving me purpose and giving me something on the other side of this. And man, if I could just say, I don't know where we're at on time here.
Unless you care, Gary, I really don't care.
Right,
it's not about that, man. This is about your message today. We got plenty of time. I got all night. I'm here for you.
So I want to introduce you to somebody, and then
Okay.
I want to tell you two things, and then maybe we can kind of start wrapping it up from there.
100%.
But I was on the ECMO machine for 10 days, and I want to give a huge shout out. When I got home from the hospital, I started looking into opportunities to get a service dog to help me out. One of my biggest struggles right now is my wife is having to work a little bit because I can't. My kids are at school full time. If I drop something on the floor, I stare at it until 4:00 when somebody gets home to pick it up for me. I can't do anything about it. I looked into service dogs, 4 different companies I looked into. All 4 of those companies, it's $30,000+ to get a service dog.
Goodness, Gary.
As if life isn't hard enough, right?
Right.
Obviously, that's not feasible. It was not feasible for me. It may be for some people, and God bless you, and I hope I hope that helps. But there is another saint of a woman out there. Her name is Tina, and I don't have her permission to give her last name, so I don't want to just put that out there. But her name's Tina, and she owns a company called Mainstream Training. And she reached out to me after seeing the MercyMe video and asked if I would be in need of a service dog. And I said yes. She asked me if I was a veteran, which many people do. I kind of fit the part, which, not to take away from veterans, but I get a lot of my meals paid for at restaurants because people think I'm a veteran.
feel bad laughing, but
I know, right? I feel bad accepting it, but it's anonymous. I don't know who did it. I wish they wouldn't, but I'm saving a lot of money, so bless you people. But I was not in the service. I just got sick.
Hey, you've earned it, man. Hey, you know,
right. So she reached out, asked if I was a veteran, because she trains and provides service dogs for veterans. And she just heard my story, and she said, you know, I don't want to take away from veterans, so I'm not going to run this through the company. But my husband and I want to get a dog for you and train it and donate it to you for free.
Wow.
And she found the most beautiful, all black 2-year-old German Shepherd, straight from Germany. She emailed me and said, I got him. What do you want to name him? I instantly said ECMO. And
wow.
I was on the ECMO machine for 10 days and saved my life. And now I have, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but come on.
Let's look. Let's see. If you're watching on video, you can see him. If not, if you're listening on audio, we just gotta. If you're listening, we're seeing ECMO right here on the video, and he's beautiful. He's beautiful, man.
So huge shout out to Tina at Mainstream Training. This dog, man, he's a companion for me when I'm home alone. I could drop something right now, and within 2 seconds, it's back in my lap. He went in my closet the other day and got me a T-shirt and brought it to me so I could change clothes.
Wow,
man, he's a balanced dog. I was on the floor the other day, and I was able to put my arms on him and lift myself up and put myself back up on the couch. You know, this life support is here for me right now, just like the ECMO machine was. So I got this beautiful ECMO here, and he's incredible. So huge shout out to Tina. Tina, I love you so much. Thank you for everything you do for me and veterans all across this country.
That's awesome.
And then two things, and I don't know if you have other stuff we can kind of.
I do. I got a few announcements to make here.
All right, let's go to your stuff.
Anybody listening, don't click off yet, because I got a couple announcements to make at the end. But you finish. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Two things. One thing, guys, I want to just encourage your listeners. You know, I talked about struggles, right? I talked about risking it. I talked about being brave. I talked about finding someone in your life that you can be real with, that you can pull your mask off and say, "This is me." And link arms with them and love them. But I also just want to encourage every single person, and mainly talking to myself right now, that God tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And our God does not make mistakes. What happened to me? God didn't make a mistake. God loves you exactly the way you are. Society tells us that we're not pretty enough, that we're not tall enough, that we're not skinny enough, that we're not fast enough, that we're not fill in the blank. God didn't mess up on you. And somebody out there has to hear that right now. Somebody out there needs to hear that you are enough. You are more than enough in the eyes of Christ, and you are perfect. And you are holy, and you are righteous, and you are redeemed, and you are God's perfect child that he knit together.
Yeah.
To me, he's still knitting me together. Well, he's actually unknitting me together. He's undoing me a little bit, but he's making me. He's not done with me yet, man. Right. And I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get arms and legs, and I'm going to be running. I'm going to be fine. So be thankful for who you are. Be thankful for what you look like, regardless of what society tells you should look like. And the next thing is just never, ever, going back to Jimmy V, right? Never give up. No. Never, ever, ever give up. God does things on purpose. I had a line in the sand. I got home from the hospital, and I could have fell into depression. I could have fell into anxiety. I could have let my kids go. I could have walked away, not really, literally, but I could have left. I got to drop them every now and then. I got to.
Killing me.
I got to. But man, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was in the hospital, when I got out of the hospital, I was a part of 4, 5, 6 different amputee Facebook groups on Facebook. I had to leave every single one of them. I had to, because these people are not choosing life. They are not choosing life. And at that time, man, I had my own crosses that I was carrying through this journey, and I couldn't bear to read other people giving up, because misery loves company, right? And I found myself like, man, you're right. This does suck. Man, you're right.
Right.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that.
Right.
But man, never give up. God's very intentional about what he does. And be thankful. And somebody out there just needs to hear, you women out there, you need to hear that you're beautiful. Beautiful. Exactly the way that you are.
Right.
Don't change a thing about you. You're gorgeous. You men out there, you're not beautiful. You're the man. All right. You're the man.
You're the dude.
You're the dude. Tell yourself that. Look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Slap yourself across the face. You are the man. Women, you're beautiful. Men, you're the man. Come on. Man, this world has a lot of messed up stuff, right? But there's still so many good people with so many good intentions. Be one of those people. I'm begging you. Yeah. Be one of those people, man. And that's just what I want to leave y'all with. That's what I want to encourage you with. And man, I don't know what you got, Aaron, but please, GaryMiracle.com, there's a huge email button. I would love to hear your story. Please don't tell me that you get what I'm going through because you stubbed your toe last week like somebody else has done. I will still love you, but I promise you don't get it.
All right. So let me, Gary, because I got one more thing I want to ask you, and we got hopefully you got time. I got a little bit of time.
I'm good.
Okay,
yep.
Cool. All right. So a few things, and I got notes all over the place, as I've said a few times. Number one, I came from Cleveland, and anybody that knows me knows I came from Cleveland, and Cleveland's got a different attitude. We may not
Cleveland rocks, right?
What's that?
Rock.
Cleveland rocks, and thank God for LeBron because he ended the curse. But you know, all of us from Cleveland got a little chip on our shoulder, and until I heard the word "say I won't." That's the chip that sits on my shoulder is say I won't. And you probably even hear a little Cleveland in my attitude right now. But man, I want to tell you, when I heard say I won't, that's me, man. I guess I've always had this little internal thing, and my family knows when I say I'm about to go 216 on somebody, they know get out of the way because
right on.
It's say I won't. So that's number one. Number two, my daughter's birthday is this weekend, and she's wanting to get a tattoo. She's about to head off to college. And she's wanting to get her first tattoo, and I got a few myself. And so I told her I'd go with her. And I'm going to give you one guess what I'm going to get on that tattoo. I was hoping I'd have it done by the podcast, but I guess.
Oh, man.
Say I won't, Gary. Say I won't. That's my next tattoo is say I won't. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like. Maybe you can help me design it because that would be even cooler. Is maybe even if it was in your handwriting. There you go. That's what I'm going to do. Hey, we'll connect offline. Write down say I won't.
I'll do it too.
There you go. I want. Say I won't. I want that. I want that. Anyway, and a couple of things for you. One, I just reached out to my partner who's running a store right now. It's a very limited store. I'm blessed to have people wear my crazy logo and whatever, man. But again, that's one of those God things is that people would wear one of my little headset and unscripted, yeah. But I'm going to extend my store a week. It was supposed to end here in the next couple of days. I just reached out to him before we jumped on. I'm going to extend my store a week, and every penny I get from my store is going to go to you guys as your family. It could be $2, man. I'm not going to let's not get crazy. It's not going to be $1 million, but man, every penny I make from my store this time, I want it to go to you and your family because I believe in you and I knew this was going to be powerful, and I'm so thankful for your time. So that doesn't mean a lot because it's not going to be a lot of money. I'll tell you that right now. But just know that anybody that purchases a shirt with my logo is going to be for you. So that was my first announcement. My second one is I talked to my friends at Phoenix Bats here in Columbus, Ohio. They make wooden bats, and we want to make a bat that says "Say I Won't" on it. For you. And so that will be coming your way. I'm gonna get your address offline and my friends at Phoenix Bat because we want to make a visual representation for you to hang on your wall that just says "Say I Won't," and you just keep that same attitude and that drive for you that MercyMe has created for you. So I wanted you to know that too. Those are the two things. my store and my friends at Phoenix Bats, local company, but a national product that's going to make a bat for you that says "Say I Won't." So
that's unbelievable, man.
Those are coming your way. Now, those are nothing compared to, and that's the last thing I wanted to ask you about. Let's talk MercyMe for just a minute, because that's obviously how people know you. What did it mean? How did all that happen with MercyMe?
Sure. So I will make this a super long story. Way back in the year 2000, Y2K, right? I had the opportunity to get to know those guys through a series of events, through a job that I had prior to that. I was living in Dallas, Texas at the time, and that's where they were kind of headquartered. Just got to know those guys. I worked for a student ministry. They were the band for the student ministry. So every time the student ministry did an event, they were the band. So I just got to know them over time. The student ministry kind of handed the baton off to a different ministry, and I decided to step away. And I vividly remember, I doubt Bart, the lead singer, even remembers this, but I was at Walmart one day and my cell phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was Bart, and asked me if I would be willing to hit the road and be their merch guy and sell their merchandise at their concerts. So sure, I just stopped the job. So I hit the road with them, just became incredible friends with the guys, just became part of their family and that MercyMe family. And they'll tell you that I was a horrible merch guy. They said that on national television, those guys.
They did. I saw that.
Yeah. If I had hands, I'd punch them in the throat, but I don't. But no, I love the guys. You know, the drummer and the bassist, they were in our wedding. The bassist sang at our Kelly and I's wedding. Just incredible friends of mine. Bart is an incredible mentor of mine. About 5 years ago, he and I had probably one of the longest text threads I've ever had with anybody, as we were just together struggling through what our identity in Christ looked like and what grace looked like, and just kind of wrestling through a lot of ideas. And you know, Bart tells a story that they were working on this new album, and he wrote this song and he turned it in, and the record label hated it. So they put it on the back burner, and then through a series of my wife's Facebook posts as I was going through my journey a year ago, Bart kind of revisited the song and rewrote it and slapped that "Say I Won't" tag on it. I was sitting right here on my couch first week of October, just months ago, and he called me and he told me that story. He said, "Hey, we wrote this song called 'Say I Won't,' and we want to know if you would trust us enough to tell your story in the music video." Wow. And man, I just started crying. Yeah. And I let him know right there that, you know, my wife and I have just been praying for purpose through all of this. And we do feel like we have a story to tell right now, a God story, and you know, he's orchestrated it all. So if we can be a part of something like that, that would be great. And, you know, they flew a crew down here to my house, and that video is on the website as well. It's about a 12-minute video.
Incredible video.
And then they flew my wife and I up to Nashville, and we spent one full day. We shot the whole music video in one day, and just an incredible time. And they actually did a concert here in Florida back in March, and I was able to be there for that. And I went out on stage during the "Say I Won't" song, and so that's kind of how it happened. And man, just incredible friends. We have a group thread on our phones right now. It's called MercyMe and the Amputee, and you know, we just talk.
Come on, man.
I can literally show it to you on my phone right now. It's the name of our group text. But we talk often, and, you know, constantly talking about the song and how it's doing and the story and the people that are reaching out. And man, through my website and that email button, I'm literally getting emails from all over the world, with people that just want to either encourage me or love on me or try to support me, whether that be through prayer or finances or anything. And people share their stories to me, and that allows me into their lives and lets me be a part of their village so that I can pray for them and link arms with them. And man, if we can just all rally around, man, I would love 10 years from now that we can see the president online just screaming out the anthem, "Say I Won't," man. Let that be our anthem. Let that be our anthem. Say I won't. Say we won't be one nation under God again.
Man.
Say we won't link arms, man. Say we won't, man, fill in the blank. What's yours? Mine right now is say I won't run on the soccer field and football field in August.
Yeah.
Right? Say I won't. And
Say I
then
won't.
fight like hell for it, man. Fight with everything you got. And when you can't do it, link arms with somebody else and let them fight for you, right? Man, but just say I won't.
216. you are an
3, 2, 1
honorary
right
member.
here.
You're an honorary member of the 216 in Cleveland, because say I won't. And man, I love it. And I'll tell you, one of the video, as if the video is not tough enough, man. I get to the very end, and there's several people obviously that hold cards that say I won't. You know, Scott Hamilton, for example. I think Ben Roethlisberger. Is that Pat Riley in that video, by the way?
Pat Riley,
man. Pat Riley. But the last one is the one that gets me. It's Toby Mack. Yeah. Who, when he said, say I won't see my son again. As if I'm not already a mess in that video. But what an incredible video from the guys at MercyMe. I will tell you real quick. I have one small link to MercyMe. They did a thing called Slob of the Month back when blogging was cool. And they did a thing called Slob of the Month. I was the very first Slob of the Month, SLOB, and I don't remember even what it stands for, but I was the very first Slob of the Month.
Come on. Okay.
No, true story, man. True story. Don't know those guys from it. They wouldn't know me from Adam, but I did that. So, all right. So before we get off, because I know we're running out of time.
Yep.
You have your prosthetics, right? Do you have you? I think I saw somewhere where you have the legs now.
You have legs.
You do have the legs, but you definitely have the hands. And in the video, we see you writing, say I won't walk again.
Correct.
Will you write say I won't for me on something that I can screenshot and make a tattoo with your prosthetics?
100%.
Then, dude, it's on. It's on, man. As soon as you get it to me, I am going to absolutely get that tattoo somewhere on my person. And man, it would be my greatest honor to wear that for you. And a reminder to pray for you every time I see you, because you took the time to do this for me today. I got a chance to meet your lovely bride who supported you. And this has been the most life-giving hour I've spent on this podcast and maybe any time in my life. And I'm thankful for you. And it would be my honor to wear that literally permanently on me. Because, man, and I want to pray for you every time I see it, that I believe, say I won't, 216 in August, you're going to be running on the sidelines. And the other thing I want to tell our audience is, man, I saw you swimming. Right? Did I see you swimming on Facebook?
Just Saturday for the first time. I jumped in my pool.
Say I won't.
Rolled in my pool.
Hey, you know what, man? That you're leading your family. You're providing with the circumstances that God's given you. And I wrote one note here that I really want to talk about really quick. I'm sorry for extending this, but
go for it.
You mentioned the quote, the verse in Job that says, God gives and he takes away. There's a period there, but there's also another sentence after it. But blessed be the name of the Lord. And my favorite part of this entire conversation, I think, and what you said, because I believe you used that verse multiple times in your conversation, your testimony, you didn't stop at the period where it said, God gives and he takes away. It didn't end there for you. That's not the period. The period is, but blessed be the name of the Lord. And man, your life, your story, this hour, all the time you're spending with other people, that's the rest of the story. That's the Paul Harvey version of this, is blessed be the name of the Lord. And you're living that. And man, I don't know you besides this hour we've spent together in a few emails, but man, I feel like I have a friend. Man, I can even say, man, I love you, brother. I am praying for you. I'm thankful that you prayed for us before this even started. I'm so thankful for this hour. And I pray that wherever it lands, because I don't know who listens to this or where it goes, but I pray that wherever it lands, people will also pray for you and just continue to support everything you're doing, man. Your story is powerful, and you've chosen to make it for God's glory. And that's, you said you had some decisions to make. I think you were at a crossroads and you said, you know what, I'm going to take the path of glorifying God, when a lot of people could have gone another path, man. I have so many things to say to you, but that's where I'm going to leave it. Is I love you, brother. I'm thankful for you. I'm so honored to have met your wife today as well. It's just a drop-in guest. And it's ECMO? ECMO.
ECMO.
I got to meet ECMO. I got to meet your wife. I got to meet you. What an honor, man. What an honor. And just to even have the platform to do that is pretty cool. So, man,
Thank you so much, man. And I just want to encourage one last thing. Just people, your world's not, quoting a Casting Crown song, your world's not falling apart. It's falling into place. Whatever it is you're going through. Yeah. That's it. I love you, brother. Love you. And I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for this platform. I'm thankful for what you do. I'm thankful for possibly the $2 you might send me here in a couple weeks or whatever that may be.
May not be worth the postage it's sent on, man.
Bro, I'm going straight to the dollar store and getting me a Powerade. All right.
The best Powerade you've ever had. Really quick too, before we get up, and I know we keep extending this.
Yeah.
What are the links, man? GaryMiracle.com. Is that the best place?
That's it.
Is that it? That's it.
GaryMiracle.com. There's the music videos on there. There's a behind the scenes making of the music video on there. There's 12-minute interview on there. I was on Good Morning America a couple weeks ago, Fox and Friends a couple weeks ago. I got to speak at the International Institute of Orthotics and Prosthetics graduation ceremony last weekend. That's on there. There's a donate button, an email button. There's a Facebook button, an Instagram button. There's another podcast that I was on there that's listed on there. As soon as I get this link, this is going to go on there, and then we're going to get it out there, man. I'm going to get Unscripted out there. We'll help each other, link arms, and let's just give God the glory.
100%, and it's all for God, honestly, and that's an honor for me, man, to be there. But most people, please go to the site. Please, if you felt something in this, buy something from my store, because that $2 is going to go to Gary.
Come on, I'm thirsty.
and he's thirsty. He wants to go to the dollar store. And just whatever God leads you to. But at the end of the day, I hope you're changed. That would, I think, be the biggest thing that we can both do for you. Is I hope you walk away from this episode changed. And man,
and listen, if one, and I promise you, God's plans are immeasurably better than ours. If one person can get to heaven because of this, I would do it again. Please run to Christ. Give him all you got. If you seek him with all of your heart, you will find him. Go for it, guys. Love you.
You owe me a tattoo, man.
I got you.
All right, we'll contact offline, but I can't wait. And I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna share it everywhere. So I appreciate you, man. I love you. I'm praying for your family. Thank you so much, Gary.
This has been the latest episode of the Unscripted Podcast with your host, Aaron Conrad, from his studio at the Junction in Old Hilliard. Make sure to like, share, follow, and review on your favorite podcast platforms. Also, make sure to check out my song Great and Mighty One on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your music. We'll be back with another great guest soon. We'll see you next time.